It's a solemn reminder of the fact that Nigeria have been into democracy uninterruptedly for the past 19 years. And we should do all we can to ensure that it has come to stay. For those who deem it necessary to celebrate that day, I think all they are trying to let Nigerians know is that this day is very important, because that was the day that Nigerians decided to return to democratically elected governance. And so for the past 19 years, we've had our trying moments within the system under democracy. But we thank God that for these 19 years we have come so far. And it is my belief that this country will continue to remain a democratic country forever. APC is doing everything to sustain democracy in Nigeria. We've been in office for the past 3 years exactly. By tomorrow, APC will be 3 years in government as a party. It is not easy, considering the fact that this particular party came into existence as a result of amalgamation of various political interest groups to form the APC. Many people had thought that the party will not last beyond 1 year, but by the grace of God, we are now 3 years down, and we are still waxing stronger and stronger. What APC has done for the sake of democracy cannot be enumerated within a short space of time. We've been able as a political party to give Nigerians focus, to give Nigerians direction, to give the administration of Nigeria some level of international respect. Because for the past years before the advent of APC, it was difficult for you as a Nigerian to walk beyond the shores of this country and raise your head high. Not for any reason, because we were viewed more like a very corrupt country, a country that was misusing democracy to the disadvantage of the electorates. And today we have APC that came in, and integrity, transparency, anti-corruption have been his watchword. And Mr. President have done tremendously in that respect. Today you can walk and go anywhere and feel proud to be a Nigerian. A lot of infrastructures are being put in place, a lot of physical developments are going on, road construction, railways, name it, the airports, youth empowerment via Empower, via the poorest of the poor, so many other social intervention programs that have assisted the restive youth to be a little bit calm while the federal government is putting in all the necessary infrastructural development to ensure that job generation is encouraged, that many youths should be able to have something to do after graduation from schools. Even if not in government, they should be self-employed. So I think the president have done tremendously in that line. For some time, people were beginning to associate democracy with crisis, because virtually every time you have election years, you begin to see all manners of crisis, as if people were just waiting for the time to come, and you begin to see the spate of killings increasing. And it got to a point that Nigeria was virtually at the verge of collapse, because it was very difficult to point to any geopolitical zone in this country that was very peaceful. You find in the northeast, in the northwest, in the north central, in the southeast, south, probably the southwest was a little bit stable. But within the south, you have the Niger Delta activities going on, movement for the emancipation of the Niger Delta, MOSOP in the southeast, IPOP in the southeast. If you go to the far east and northeast, for example, you have the Boko Haram, rampaging virtually everywhere. You go to the northwest, Zamfara, down to Jigawa, part of Kaduna, you have the bandits who are always on the loose, terrorizing people, herders and farmers clashes in Zamfara and so many other places. And then when you come to the north central, Plateau, Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, they had their fair share of the crisis. Maybe only Kwara and Niger within the North Central or the states that probably have not been badly affected by crisis. So it was beginning to look as if democracy was failing. And people were beginning to feel that, look, it was better under the military. People could control these situations under the military. And they were beginning to feel, why under democracy? But since the advent of the APC government, there has been a little quiet in quite a number of the pockets of where crises were looming. And so you find the Boko Haram substantially have been decimated and reduced to a minimal force, where you only hear of maybe suicide bombers here and there, but not major assault like you used to hear in the past. Within the North Central, what is now common is the herders farmers clash, which has been a long-standing problem that from colonial times this problem have always been there. It's just that with the increase in population, the problem is becoming more magnified, But these problems have been with us for quite a while. And I can see the intention of the federal government bringing in the policy of the ranching policy, for state governments to key into it. What probably have made that policy not to function effectively is the fact that resources and funds, are not just there. Because for you to go into ranching is capital intensive. You need the land, you need a lot of facilities that you put in place for the herders or people who are going to be engaged in ranching to locate, if you are going to go on some kind of colonies of ranches. But if you are dealing with individuals who are going to go into ranches, again, it will require people who understand what it is all about, and then begin to go into it. We believe that with time, this policy will reduce what a number of these clashes that we always have between herders and farmers. And then again, you will understand that the crises in this country have been there for a very long time. It's just that as the years go by, they become louder and louder and louder. During the virtual collapse of Chad, in the days of Hissan Habre, Gokone Wadai, that period, quite a number of the senior army officers and ministers in the government that was overthrown in Chad virtually relocated to Maiduguri. And I remember during the days of Ibrahim Babangida, he had to launch Operation Damisa to confront, some of those bandits that were coming across the Chad territory to terrorize Nigerians, loot and then make money, go back to prosecute the civil war that was going on in Chad. This problem has been there. And so for quite a while, you find a community that have been militarized over years because of the kind of experience they have been having. Unfortunately, again, the collapse of the Gaddafi regime brought into the Sahel area a great number of the dispersed soldiers that were equipped and trained under Gaddafi, now finding themselves as refugees in the Sahel countries of Niger, Mali, Chad, and northern Nigeria.
But when the president cited the same example took a swipe at him, saying that how would the president say that the bandits that come from those areas that are terrorizing us?
No, but it's a fact, because even when some of them were arrested in Benue not long ago, and when they were paraded, they were not Nigerians. And so, Nigeria has a very long border, all the way from Cross River through Cameroon to Chad, down to Niger, Benin Republic, back to the sea. It's a long border. So we don't have the requisite number of security agencies that are on ground that can police these borders. These people don't come through the normal border crossings that and so don't disbelieve Mr. President when he said that part of the problem we are going through is as a result of the collapse of the regime in Libya. Because when the Gaddafi regime collapsed, we saw it. It was well reported in CNN, BBC, Sky News, Al Jazeera, you will saw thousands and hundreds of armored vehicles being driven out of Libya through the desert down to Mali, some to Niger. These were former military personnel carrying away a lot of hardwares, military hardwares, moving them across to other African countries. Only God knows where these weapons are now. Only God knows whether these are some of the weapons that are confronting our military in this country. The people of Nigeria decided through the ballot that enough was enough and there should be room for change, because they believed in what the APC was saying. And so we found ourselves now in government. So to be specific, we've been able to do a lot.
So are you satisfied?
I'm highly satisfied.
You are satisfied?
I'm highly satisfied. Like I told you, within this short period of time, the insecurity in this country have been drastically reduced, whether we like it or not. Well, there are bandits going on in some parts of Kaduna, Zamfara, Plateau, Benue, Nasarawa. Of course, yes, those things are there, but not on the scale that we were experiencing, in some years back. Not on the scale of what we're experiencing. Well, in terms of education, let me say the agricultural aspect. The government is very, very aware that security, agriculture, education, they are interwoven. Because when people are properly educated, they will not want to be doing the kind of things that we are seeing. People will not go and waste their lives, fighting for causes that you cannot explain. People would have been better informed, better educated. They can discern for themselves what is right and what is wrong. But when you have people who are half educated, half baked education, they are susceptible, or otherwise, prone to being influenced negatively by activities, that is beyond their comprehension. And when you look at what is happening in the agricultural sector, the APC have done very, very well. The heavy subsidy intervention from the federal government into agriculture to ensure that there is a boost in the agricultural production in this country. Because where the agricultural activities are failing, it is on its own a major security threat, because many people cannot go to farm, people cannot do things that they are supposed to be doing. And that was what we were experiencing. Well, if you look at Plateau, for example, before, when you are driving from Jos to Abuja through Hawankibo, you can hardly see any green field, because nobody was too sure as to whether when he goes to the farm he will come back alive. But today the situation has drastically changed. Fertilizers are available. Of course, fertilizer blending project that there yesterday that was abandoned. Nobody believed that fertilizer blending company could come to life. It was like telling the people of Plateau State that thing was a fake. But Governor Lalong came on board. Today, that fertilizer blending company is turning out tons and tons and tons of fertilizer. And you don't have to wait for government. You go to that factory, you get it at the same price that the government will going to give you. And so you find fertilizer is now very, very available.
What about nutrition?
Education, if you look at the case of Plateau State, I can assure you there has been a lot of intervention through the universal basic education, a lot of intervention in terms of infrastructure. And when we came in as APC government, I do remember that over 2,000 youths were recruited into the primary school sector across the country to beef up the shortages in terms of the resources, human resources at that level. And quite a number of people have been employed into the educational sector. Recently, not up to 4 or 5 months ago, the Ministry of Education and the Teacher Service Commission have recruited over 1,000 teachers, NCE graduates, and then not less than 200 non-academic staff, and posted them to various secondary schools. This is a big boost in the educational sector.
Okay, sir.
And if you go to the state university and see what the governor is doing in that place, that university, for quite a while was virtually being abandoned. In fact, not virtually, it was abandoned for over 10 years. But for these 3 years that Governor Lalong has been around, that university is a brand new University. When you go there and you see the activities going on there, you will be impressed. They should give the APC a chance, because we have come in with the promise of change, and a lot of change is taking place in terms of the fight against corruption, the fight against insurgency, in terms of agricultural diversification of the economy that has all along been oil-based, to now begin to look inward, that we should be able to utilize our environment. We have a lot of fertile land from the sea up to the desert, There's no part of Nigeria that's not agriculturally viable. And there is no reason why we cannot feed Africa, we cannot feed the world. And that is a very big tool, economic tool, that if this country can give APC the support with what Buhari is doing in the agricultural sector, I can assure you it's going to be a big, big time income earner that will overtake oil in the shortest time possible. And so, for me, even you look at the infrastructural development in terms of road constructions going on in the southeast, south, through the intervention of the Niger Delta, the NDC, the railway, a lot of things are happening that were not happening before. Maybe the difference between the APC government and the past is that you will not find lavish spending of government resources, in terms of thievery, or do I say stealing of government resources to go into some kind of lifestyle that hitherto was very detrimental to the progress of the country. And so people are a little bit more cautious and more prudent in applying the resources that are available to them, because they know they have a government that will want them to be responsible, a government that cannot stand and aside aloof and look while they plunder. And so people are a little bit more careful and more cautious about what they do, and people are a bit more responsible in the offices where they find themselves. And so Nigerians that probably have been so used to the loose way of how funds were being bastardized may not find it very comfortable. But with time, they will come to appreciate this government. They will come to appreciate what the foundation that Buhari is laying, the foundation that quite a number of our governors are laying.